a lot of this next part down because I wanted to make sure that I could recount everything in these last parts. So, excuse me for not constantly or consistently looking at the camera. February 2020, there is a text thread of conversations going on about possible quarantine in Georgia. This is with all of the mothers. Mother number 2 and number 3 said no. I ended up saying no after I spoke to my boyfriend, who is a traveling psychologist in the Bahamas. Damn, I fumbled that. A few weeks went on and the pandemic got worse. I got nervous. I got anxious, and going to my parents' house with all my pets was not an option. I looked for tickets to the Bahamas, but by then travel was restricted. In March of 2020, I am on Instagram and I see prayer hands under Mama number 5's Instagram. I'm confused. I get a phone call from Mama number 4, and she tells me that Mama number 5 has had a seizure and she has passed away. I'm devastated. I also get a phone call from Superman, and he is distraught. He's crying. He is so upset. He can barely compose himself, and he is begging for us to come for quarantine. He says he has received all these revelations and he wants to make sure that his family is taken care of, and he wants to go through therapy. I mean, he lays it on thick. And after speaking to my boyfriend, I agreed to go. After a 7-8 hour drive, I, along with our son and our mini zoo, arrived at the estate in Sewanee, Georgia. It was late, so after getting our things out of the car and taking them into the guest house, I was called for dinner. It was awkward. Everyone was acting normal, and I later learned the people in the home were a groundskeeper, a trainer, a self-proclaimed guru, the nanny, his 16-year-old goddaughter, myself, my child, Mama number 4, and baby number 4. After I was at that table, I couldn't take it anymore, and I asked, why now? What happened? And he states that it is because he has received all these revelations, that he feels as if the world ending is almost a sign for him to make good with all bad and just a lot of stuff. He really was also claiming that he wanted to be a better father, and he wanted to apologize to all of us because he was basically a hoe. I listened to it. I also asked the nanny about why she would not allow my son to speak to me, or they would take his phone and not return his phone. I had to take him to court for that. I'm really like, I'm confronting everybody because I cannot stay in a house or be on a property where I feel uncomfortable and certain things haven't been addressed. That's just me. Later on that day is when I realized that he smoked like Snoop. I mean, day in, day out. Over the next couple of days, I was bit by a Malinois dog, and I also was made privy to a conversation regarding a former teammate of his and the passing of another. We were told that this particular teammate had no emotion when he was on the plane and did not show emotion until he exited the plane and left in a private car. Why that was important for us to know, I have no idea, but maybe it was because I used to praise and still praise how great of a father he is to his kids and husband he is to his wife. I actually ended up having a talk with my Bahamian boyfriend, who was a psychologist, about this conversation, and he told me to immediately leave. He said, Royce, you're about to be manipulated and brainwashed. I didn't believe him. I thought he was jealous. I stayed. Of course, we ended up breaking up. Well, now we're discussing Mama number 5's funeral and who's gonna go and who wants to go, and who ends up going is Mama number 4, myself, Superman, and the groundskeeper. Mind you, during all of this time, Superman is texting me about possibly becoming his matriarch, and all the apologies that come, and him telling me that he was a changed man, that he was no longer the basketball player, and that he saw everything that he ever wanted me. If I need to repost those messages, I could do that. Well, now we're in Reno, and I see Mama number 3 rubbing his back one day at the Mama number 5's mama's house. The next day, we are at the funeral. I'm taking pictures because he has not seen this little boy in months, and I'm trying to give him memories. Later on that evening, we go back to the family house and we all get drunk and we're taking edibles. That former basketball girlfriend is at the house and she's playing with our kids. We thought that was a little strange, but he said that she was crazy and that she was just trying to get him back. That same narrative. Of course, I didn't believe it, but go off. When we returned back from Reno, I'm basically being sold a Disney movie plot. Now, I just didn't know that it was going to end up being Bambi. Well, I'm being asked to move in, be his matriarch, and telling me that he's going to get our son a personal trainer. He's going to get me another dance studio. He's saying that he knows Tyler Perry and can introduce me and get me in movies. And y'all, you have to remember that at this point, I am waving my surrender flag. I'm listening to all of these things, and because I have lost in court so many times, I am honestly willing to fall into submission so my son can fly to success. I don't regret doing that. I don't regret following what my heart felt to be true. During this time, we are also taking family trips to the grocery store, to the park, to the sex store. And one day he decides that he wants to have a meeting with myself and mama number 4. He proceeds to basically try to sell us a polyamorous relationship. This was suggested by his guru. Well, mama number 4 ended up leaving immediately. I think she stayed maybe 2 more days and she was gone. She packed up her shit and she left. Me, I laughed it off because did you really think that this was gonna work? I don't even go that way. I don't lick marbles. Oh, let me also say that baby number 5 and his grandmother are now in Georgia as well. He has now flown them into Georgia so he can spend time with his siblings. Just a little while after mama number 4 left, I went home because I wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with my mother. While I'm there, I'm getting text messages. I mean, love bombed, y'all. Again, I can post them again if I need to. But it's a bunch of I miss yous. It's I don't want to say it, but I love you. And then he pretended like he was texting a friend of his and was like, man, I can't believe how much I miss Royce. Okay. We still doing them little high school games, but that's what he was doing. And he was begging me to come back sooner than I planned. And what did I do? I left the next day. When I get back to Georgia, I am then seeing articles about how distraught he's been, how he's been crying himself to sleep, how the feeling of mama number 5 never coming back has really torn him up. And I'm confused because I had no idea that he was going through these feelings. I then befriended the groundskeeper because the groundskeeper knew mama number 5 very well. He proceeds to tell me that their relationship was actually pretty volatile, that they were in a court battle, that until recently there was no communication. He also let me know that when she was pregnant and when she had the child, she was forced to sleep on an air mattress and he would put her in a motel so people wouldn't know who she was or who the baby was. I was also made aware that he in fact did not pay for the funeral costs as he told mama number 5's family he would do. I started acting different, so he allowed me to invite a few friends over and we swam in the pool, we had seafood, we watched movies, and we played games. After that, I woke up in hell.